LMD Magazine and EFM present Biz Talk, taking an in-depth look at today's biz landscape.
Good morning and welcome to LMD EFM Biz Talk, the LMD 100 special, where we're talking to the top performers who made it to the leaderboard in the LMD 100 2014-15 edition. In today's show, we have with us Mr. Krishan Balendra, President Leisure Group of John Keells, representing John Keells Holdings, who's going to talk to us about how the group sustains its performance and looks beyond. Welcome to the show, Krishan.
Thank you.
In your 2014-15 annual report, it's been mentioned that sectors such as consumer, food, retail are doing better than the others. How would you say that the group maintains its competitive position in the past year?
Yes, I think while we have mentioned three sectors in the annual report, at this moment in time, some of the sectors that have been named have done better than the other sectors. But with a diversified portfolio that we have across 5 key industry segments, we see industry cycles where in certain periods of time certain industries do well and others lag and then eventually catch up when there is a pickup in the cycle. So while 3 industry groups are mentioned in the annual report, it doesn't mean the others are not bearing fruit or are not doing well. It's just that they are in a stage in the cycle where they are not doing as well as some of the other segments. In terms of maintaining our competitive position, that applies across all the businesses. We have competition from local companies as well as from foreign businesses, and it's an ongoing process of continuously enhancing and improving on our processes, the way we do business, and training our people. Employees are obviously the key asset, and we realize that with the risk of competition, there is a need to continuously upgrade our skills. So there is a lot of focus on employee training, apart from improving our processes. So that is essentially what we are looking at to maintain our competitive position.
Of all the sectors that John Keells operates in, which do you think has the most potential for growth looking at 2020?
I'd say I mentioned we have 5 industry segments: leisure, transport, consumer foods and retail, property and financial services. Those are the 5 big contributors. And I would say all 5 have growth potential. Leisure, obviously, with the kind of growth we are seeing in tourism in Sri Lanka post the end of the war, a lot of potential. We have seen a lot of growth in the last 5 years, but the base is still quite low. We will have about 2 million tourists this year. That is still low compared to countries like Cambodia, and even an island like Bali gets over almost 5 million tourists a year. So leisure will clearly grow, and across the other industries as well. As the economy grows post the end of the war, growth rates of 5-6% seem to be achievable. So whether it's consumer foods and retail, or financial services, property development, or transport logistics, I believe that all our businesses have very good growth potential.
In an age where small niche markets and niche players are gaining momentum, how do large corporates compete with that?
It is a challenge. It's the disruptors that are creating the biggest issues for the more established, older corporates. Again, it goes back to employees being the key asset. What we are seeing all over the world and in Sri Lanka is that we are losing some very good talent to some of these startup smaller companies. So we have to retain good staff, capable staff, in order to continue to grow. So that is one of the biggest challenges, retaining staff. The other challenge, of course, is to keep pace with these disruptors and look at developing the necessary technologies and applications so that we get into that type of business ourselves. So across our business groups, while there have been old ways of working, we are very much alive to the reality that disruptors could affect our business, and we are looking at developing the necessary business models to compete with those disruptors and even get ahead of them.
How can John Keells use its diversification to combat foreign competition that's entering Sri Lanka?
It's not really the diversification. The diversification and the size of the group is an advantage in that it helps us attract good people and retain good people. Name like John Keells, the stature of the group, size of the group, the fact that an individual can build a career at the group over a long period of time is an important advantage to attract good talent. And I think that talent, as I said repeatedly, is the most important asset of any business. But more than diversification, in certain industries, international competition is becoming an issue and growing. I'll pick one example, and that is the leisure industry. You can see the big names coming into Sri Lanka, Shangri-La, Movenpick, Nantara, Grand Hyatt. And what we are doing there is looking at enhancing and upgrading our product, improving the way we do business and training our people. And to do that, we are getting some of the best expertise in the world. If we can enhance the way we do business to be comparable or better than the international competition, there is no issue why we can't compete.
In your opinion, how can private sector entities set benchmark for state enterprises?
I think it's really by competing well, you set the benchmark naturally. You don't need to do something consciously. If I picked two examples, the Colombo port and the telecom industry. At the Colombo port, when our terminal started business in around the year 2000, the other terminal was run by the government today. And with the private player coming in, with the John Keells SAGT terminal coming in and operating in a private sector style where our efficiencies were comparable to the best in the world, the government-run terminal also had to up their game. So the competition forced them to up their game. Similarly, if you look at the telecom industry, when the private players, for decades it was only Sri Lanka Telecom. When the private players like Dialog came into the industry and competed and started taking business away from the state-run companies, they had to up their game. So, I think that is the natural benchmarking that happens. When you see the competition taking your business away, the state companies are also forced to benchmark and up their game.
And Krishan, how can the private sector contribute towards making Sri Lanka a preferred investor destination?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of talk about how do we attract more FDI. I think the first step in that process is to identify industries where Sri Lanka has a comparative advantage. One area, of course, is tourism because of the nature of the country. But tourism alone won't do. We need to find other industries. There's a big need to focus on industrial exports, growing industrial exports. So when we say attracting foreign investment, I think the first step is to identify what industries can Sri Lanka do well in. Because you're competing with every other country in the world to attract foreign investment. So I think the private sector can, together with the state, contribute to that policy making process where, as a country, we identify a few industries where we believe we have a comparative and competitive advantage and develop a policy and a game plan for building that industry in Sri Lanka. If we develop that policy and strategic plan for certain industries, then I believe attracting foreign investment won't be a problem.
Thank you, Krishan, for that very insightful conversation. Thanks for being part of the show.
Okay, thank you.
Stay tuned for more LMD FM BizTalk 100 specials coming your way soon.
Tune in every Tuesday and Thursday for more insights from our business community. You can also log on to efm.lk and lmd.lk/LMDTV for a visual experience of BizTalk.